William Morrow and HarperAudio present A Darkness Returns, Book 1 of the Dragonwar Saga, by Raymond E. Feist, performed by David Thorpe. Prologue. A Darkness Returning. In a distant place, a shadow stirred. It twisted, creating a full circle around a raging centre, then found its focus. It continued to turn, gaining momentum, pulsing steadily, a ponderous beat, soundless in a vacuum. At first a quiver, then a quake, it became more frequent, until suddenly it expanded, then contracted, as if a massive exhalation of soundless fury had sent vibrations out in every direction. Echoes of warning sped across the multiverse and awoke those attuned to such mystic energies. Beings of power found their attentions diverted, turning to look first this way, then that, to seek out the odd tickling at the edge of their awareness. Magnus woke. He sat fully upright and took a deep breath. He let a moment pass in order to reach the necessary level of alertness as he grappled with what had awakened him. A feeling of foreboding and a dark thought of something oddly familiar were draining away, as if a dream was fleeing and would never be remembered. He shook his head slightly and tilted it as if listening. But now all was still, save for the faint sounds of the night passing and the dawn approaching. A distant bird call, the sigh of a passing breeze, and the faint sound of leaves rustling in the garden outside. He stood and quickly donned his usual black robe, stepped into his sandals and reached for his oaken staff, taking a moment to let the weight and balance of it settle into his palm, as familiar a feeling as his own arm, and opened the door. Leaving his quarters, he moved past a large garden at the centre of the building. It was a garden that had been tended with care after years of neglect, and a place where he had been content to sit quietly and reflect on life. As he exited Villa Bieta through one of its many large portals, he felt an urge to sit and ponder near a fountain at the garden's centre. But that desire was overridden by the need to find the source of the disquiet that had awakened him. The villa was ancient and had been expanded several times, but Magnus lived in the quarters once occupied by his parents, a massive square of several rooms surrounding the garden. His sleeping quarters were attached to a large personal library he had inherited from his father. Other buildings sprawled around this one, and over the hill to the east lay even larger buildings, halls, libraries, as well as kitchens and workshops. Though once it had been home to many, his father had allowed the villa to lie in ruin, for it was here where Magnus's mother and brother had died during a horrific battle. It had taken Magnus years after his father's death to begin repairing all that was lost. Now, he glanced eastwards and could see the sky above the hills begin to lighten. The hint of the coming day, a time of stillness and anticipation, followed swiftly by the false dawn, first light, then the sunrise. It was his favourite time of day. A trembling held breath, a calm, quiet space before the dawn unleashed the day's concerns and problems. Magnus took a deep breath and savoured the hint of sea salt on the morning air. Then he began to walk to the western rise, a spot where he often watched the sunsets. The darkness of night slowly retreated, and Magnus closed his eyes and sent his mystic senses questing out, trying to isolate and identify the source of his early awakening. He found nothing. Something was sweeping towards them, Magnus knew. The morning brightened behind him as he peered into the retreating night's gloom. Something hovered just beyond his ability fully to perceive it, and it was threatening. He opened his eyes and scanned the distant horizon. Nothing appeared to be out of the ordinary, and nothing echoed
Sample complete. Ready to continue?